Elon Musk seems like he's in a different league than most of us.
I don't ever give up.
So you might doubt whether he can really give any advice that is applicable and useful to us more average human beings. He's definitely out of the ordinary, but when listening to what he says in countless interviews, his advice is simple and straightforward. But simple doesn't mean easy. Elon Musk has time and time again succeeded in launching various projects and businesses, including PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, and most mind-blowing his Neuralink project, which aims to integrate the human brain with artificial intelligence by creating devices that are embedded in the human brain to facilitate its merging with machines. Speaking of Neuralink, this project of his has sort of inspired a short film project I did last year, and I will launch this film on this channel in the coming weeks instead of a regular video. If you want to watch my film and get notified once it's up, make sure to subscribe and set the little notification bell to all notifications. There are countless things to learn from Elon Musk, but let's start with two pieces of profound advice he gave in an interview from 2013. Here he gives advice for entrepreneurs, but it's so fundamental that it can be applied to any endeavor, career plans that you are pursuing.
I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell. Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis.
It sounds so simple, but there's a lot in here. So let's break this down. Elon's first advice is to be focused on something that will have value to other people. And things that have value to other people are things that are useful in some way. It could be a service or a product, anything that enriches or improves other people's lives. And the opposite of creating value is either not creating any value at all or creating something that not only has no benefit whatsoever to anyone, but even becomes a burden to the system. And if you've ever seen departments created in companies that have absolutely no use at all, then you know what I mean. The antithesis of using your time and other resources to create something valuable and useful is to waste your time and resources on something that has no use to other people, or sometimes not even to yourself. In another interview, Elon says something similar.
People stay super focused on creating the absolute best product or service that really delights their end customer. Like, if they stay focused on that, then basically if you get it such that your customers want you to succeed, then you probably will.
Here again, we hear Elon emphasizing value, but this doesn't just apply to businesses. This is the key to having a fulfilling and meaningful career, something that people tend to forget. To have a career that is truly meaningful and not one that you hate, you find boring, or even pointless, your starting point has to be, what value do you want to provide to other people? How do you specifically want to make yourself useful to the world? And that's not an easy question to answer. And here's where we get to the second part of Elon's first piece of advice.
A natural human tendency is wishful thinking. Well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis.
Here's where it gets tough. Finding what you want to pursue requires some rigorous self-analysis, as he says, and with that, a high degree of self-knowledge. On one hand, you want to stick to your ideals, follow your dreams, pursue what you believe in. May that be an app, starting a business, or pursue a career in the arts. While on the other hand, you need to avoid wishful thinking and avoid pursuing a dream that has no merit. And when doing this analysis, you can't compare yourself to other people. Here, you need to be brutally honest about yourself and with yourself so you can arrive at a goal that makes sense for you. For Elon Musk, building a space shuttle made sense, but even for him, it was a process until he arrived at what he wanted to do.
As you think about the big problems in the world that you are addressing, do you start with a particular product in mind, like there could be this Model S, there could be this Falcon 9, and then think, how do I get there? Or do you start with saying, there's something broken in the world, and I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to commit to do it, even if I don't know how I get there?
In the case of Tesla, SpaceX, and Solar City, and actually also the PayPal and the Zip2 before that, it really stemmed from when I was in college. I was trying to think what would most affect the future in a very likely to be a positive way. The three areas where I was quite sure would be positive were sustainable energy, internet, and making life multiplanetary. And then there were a couple other areas where it's maybe a question mark, like AI and writing genetics.
And what was the last one?
Yeah, rewriting genetics.
Rewriting genetics. Oh.
Yeah. So just happened.
So did you have
And
like
they
a
make movies
rank
about
order?
that,
Like was it
so-
like top three and a couple of contenders, or were they all kind of jumbling around, waiting for the
I
right
just
moment?
thought, if you look ahead and say what's really going to have an important effect on the future of humanity as a whole, those were the 5 areas that I could come up with standing in the shower, basically.
All jokes aside, Elon's starting point for deciding what to do was the question, what would likely affect the future in a positive way? And although we might not be tackling issues of the same magnitude as he is, we can very well apply this question to our own careers. What could I do in my career that would affect the future in a positive way? It could be something small, local, yet very meaningful. Anything you do that creates a net positive for humanity, may that be building a house for someone, helping someone fix their finances, managing a stellar customer service team, affects the future in a positive way. The question you need to answer now is just, what will that be? What is it that you want to pursue? Talking about focusing on what's useful, if you find this video useful so far, I would really appreciate it if you'd smash the like button. It does make a big difference. It would get this video recommended to more people, and it will also help me to know if you like videos like this one so I can make more of this type. The second piece of advice is this.
I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100 hour weeks every week.
Gosh,
And
that's
then
a lot of work.
all those things improve the odds of success.
Okay.
I mean, if other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
80-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks sounds crazy, and many people reject this advice because it sounds so extreme and reeks of toxic hustle culture. But hold on. Sure, if you think that way, well, not you, but anyone who decries hustle culture. It's okay if you don't want to hustle, but then also don't complain if you stay stuck where you are and feel like you're not moving while others do. The point is not working 80 hours or 100 hours or 60 hours. The point of this advice is basically that 1, there's a price for everything, and 2, output to a certain extent is related to input. Duh. Hard work is surely not the only success factor, but it is definitely an important one. This applies to most things in life. Auditions, applying for jobs, making a discovery, getting better at a skill. If you feel like the needle is not moving, then one way to make progress is simply to invest more time. But sure, it's not just about time either, as more time doesn't automatically equal more and better output. But let's just assume that you're using your time productively already. In that case, if you put in more hours, it is very likely that you'll achieve more, and this is just a fact. I'm not saying anything about what you should want to achieve. That is a totally different thing. But if you're telling yourself that you want to achieve a lot, if you're setting yourself these huge goals, then yes, it will require tenacity and hard work. I guess people like Elon Musk who work 80 to 100 hours continuously are extremely rare. But we don't have to copy him exactly. For many of us, all it takes is to invest a couple hours more each week to get more traction. Hustle, yes, hustle at least for a while. You don't need to hustle forever, but if you want to get what you're after, then yes, for a while you need to
just work like hell.
Now, let's tie these two pieces of seemingly very basic advice together. Advice number 1, focus on something that will have value to other people or is useful, keyword utility. And advice number 2, work like hell for more hours week after week, keyword intensity. Utility and intensity, one doesn't work without the other. It's that combination of both utility and intensity that makes this piece of advice solid. And here's what I mean. Let me know if any of these two situations apply to you. Situation number 1, I know what I want to do. It's something that will have a big impact on people's lives and that is valuable, but I've been working on this thing for a while now and I've not really made any progress. In this case, you know what is meaningful to you, and then again, it might be either something that has merit and is realistic, or something that is, like Elon Musk said, unrealistic and wishful thinking. If it turns out to be too far-fetched, you need to calibrate your goals among others by doing rigorous self-analysis. Be honest about your capability and capacity. But if the thing you want to do is realistic, then the problem may just be that you haven't put in enough work yet, enough to reach that goal. Or situation number 2, I already work like hell. I work 50 hours, 60 hours every week, but I feel like I'm getting nowhere and my work and my life have no meaning. In this case, you're working intensively, but the thing you're doing may either not be useful to other people, or it is useful, but it's not creating the kind of impact that you want. In that case, what you need to do is not to work harder. You need to do that later. But what you need to do instead is slow down, stop, and introspect. What is it that would matter to you and make it worth working so hard? If you struggle to find meaning and purpose and just can't make up your mind what to work on, then this video here will be useful for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you again next time.